in a few days and send me a picture of what color it turns. I was like, color? It's salt water. Why would it turn a color? But it fully turned lime ass green. This water turned lime ass green in a matter of a couple days. He's like, oh, well, you caught it. I was like, okay, well, now what? And he said, don't flush it down the toilet. I'm like, I'm so glad you said that, because I almost, like, that was my first instinct, was just flush it down the toilet. He said, don't flush it down the toilet. Now, I'm not really sure why. Leyland, do you know why? Anyway, so he tells me not to flush it down the toilet, and he tells me to go put it like in the ground somewhere. And I didn't think about it, and I literally put it in the ground in my front yard, and it killed it killed every plant in like a 6-foot radius. And then every time we would try to plant something new there, it would be dead within weeks. And so then yeah, a farmer I am not. Someday I hope to be, but I've learned that lesson at least. Holy crap. Armando says, I had these dark shadow things that were darker than dark that would show up in my room often when I was growing up. Creepy. Yep, I've seen those. It's so funny how, hi, Red Pill Pharmacist. Aw, sweet girl. I didn't even see your first message. I just saw the second one. Hiya. That's my friend. So what was I saying? Oh, it's funny how when people tell me their stories about weird experiences that they've had, I'm like, oh yeah, I've had that too. I mean, I haven't experienced anything super duper gnarly, but like I have probably had a little taste of just about everything. I can't really, I mean, I'm sure there's lots of stuff that I haven't experienced, but I can't really think of one. I forget all the things. And then when somebody else brings up to me like, oh, you know, man, I had this weird thing happen, I'm like, oh yeah, so did I. I don't know what that's about. Naturally, Nikki says those are shadow people. They love to hang out in doorways and corners. Yes. Big uptick in my sighting of shadow people just before the Rona hit, and again in 2021 during the fake inauguration timing. Interesting. Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, apparently you can. Does that mean I just need to put bowls of salt water out all the time? Is that why my fish tank is turning green? Oh, this freaking fish. I got my son 2 fish for Christmas, and one of them kicked the bucket. He was going through this, like, he was very thinking about death a lot. You know, he would always at nighttime, and he would talk to me about you know, he misses people in his family that he didn't even meet, like my grandmother, for existence. That was weird. For instance, my grandmother died years and years before my son was born, but for some reason he's always like, I miss Grandma Dorothy. And he'll miss our dogs that, you know, he barely remembers. And he'll see one of our dogs, Cricket. He sees her all the time in the house. He's like, oh, Mom, Cricket's over there. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. But anyway, he was going through this very kind of weepy time of I love it, WD-40. I'm stupid too. I'm glad I'm not alone. So I thought fish would be maybe a good kind of bumper animal to, you know, not that he's had other animals die. He had a hamster that died. He had dogs that died. I feel like there was something else. Does anybody remember Baldy the hamster? God, me and Alara sat here one time doing a stream after that freaking hamster died, and we were like delirious. I literally laughed so hard I fell out of my chair in that stream. Oh my god, that freaking hamster. Anyway, I remember what it was. She was accusing me of killing it. Okay, so anyway, I thought, you know, these little kind of bumper animals that would get my son used to the fact that death is a part of life, kind of ease, him into it a little bit. And the first fish died within a couple of months, and it was like it was this was no bumper animal. He was beside himself, poor baby, and he wanted to bury it in the backyard. He would not let me flush it. He was like, "No, that is so disrespectful." I'm like, "But it goes to the ocean." He's like, "Mom, that's not true." I was like, "Oh shit." It sucks having a kid that's smarter than you are. And so yeah, we had to bury it. We had to do a whole eulogy thing. I drew the line at doing a headstone. And I was like, please, if my dog digs this thing up, I'm going to thank you, Jana. If my dog digs this up, the dog's gonna go live on a farm. So anyway, this other fish is just will not die. I mean, it's only been what, 6, 7 months, but still. Because I'm the one that has to clean the bowl. So don't leave your animals or plants with Kate. Hey, listen, I actually have a pretty good track record of keeping things alive. Not plants. Not plants. I take that back. In my defense, every single house plant has like different persnickety rules. Like some of them you have to water and keep the dirt wet, but a lot of plants, if the dirt stays wet, they start to mold and mildew, and then that kills them. So you have to wait for the dirt to dry out completely before you can water it. And like some of them, it's just like their plants are high maintenance. I don't care what anybody says. A kid is way easier. That's what we had, was a Russian dwarf hamster. Those suckers bite and don't let go. Oh my gosh, killed one as a kid because it bit my fingertip and took my hand to get it off. And it hit the wall too hard. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. That was probably so traumatic. That's actually what Baldy was. And he was just the best hamster. He was so mellow and he never bit. He would just kind of, he would crawl all over you. I'd put him up on my shoulders and stuff. He would just let you pick him up. And River had this like play table that was it was a little train thing, and then we had like kinetic sand on it and stuff, and that was like Baldy's little world. And we would just put the hamster on the table, and it would just hang, it would just chill. So then Baldy died while River was at school. So then I was like, okay, well, he was not ready for that. So I'm like, we have to replace it. We have to get a new one. And so I went to the pet store and I got this. It was identical, except it had red eyes, and I should have fucking known. But it was same color, same size, and it looked just like Baldy, but it had red eyes. And I was like, okay, that'll do. And I'm like, I don't think he'll really remember the eye color. And I get this thing home, and my ex-husband took it out. It bit him, and he kind of like released. And this thing, I'm not kidding you, it was like a hot freaking potato. It leapt. And if I would have had this one moment on camera, it would have been probably the most viral video in the world, because this hamster he kept catching it midair, and then it would like wiggle out and jump out, and he was going like this and just catching the hamster like 9 times before it like got to the ground. And it was like panic. Oh, because it had escaped from me like moments prior. That's why he had it. It had escaped from me. And this effing thing was like going Mach 1 down and went under the couch. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're never going to see this thing again. I remember having friends that had hamsters when I was growing up and hearing the stories of, oh yeah, my hamster got out and we never found it. And I was like, what? How does that happen? And now I know how that happens. They're fast and they like to scurry under it. I don't know. I'm lucky that he was there and he found it. And anyway, so I just took it back. I'm like, he's just going to have to learn that that animals die, because that freaking hamster was evil. My sister-in-law's dog dug up a bird at a rental, and the bird was wearing a sweater. Oh my Lord. What? That's probably why it died. It was too hot. Oh my gosh. Oh. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. I am not very good with, plants. Well, I'm good with I've just always had dogs. I've had birds, but I don't know. They're just they're just are dirty things. Dirty little things. Baldy was cute, though. I mean, I've loved every pet that I've had. Um, can you love fish? I don't know. I say sweet things to my fish, and I get, like, a little happy voice when I see the fish, and I always tell her she's a pretty fish, and so I'm kind. Maybe that's why she's living forever. Maybe I should tell her that, like, she's having a bad hair day or something one time, but I my son loves the fish, and he loves everything. He literally says to me, he will count the plants that we have in our house and the plants that we have around our house in our yard, and he'll say, "We have this many family members because they are all a part of our family." And I hope he just does not notice the agave, the giant agave that was bigger than he is. Oh my gosh, your sister was putting mice and turtles in her pockets? For whatever reason, in 6th grade, or maybe it was 7th grade, it was 7th grade, I decided to get all of my friends for Christmas different pets. I got one of them a hamster. I got one a soft shell turtle. I got one a parakeet. I just got all of my friends' pets. I'm sure their parents were thrilled. But oh man, another one of those moments where if I had it on I almost said tape. That's how old I am. It would have been tape back then. But if I had it on video, that would have been America's Funniest Home Videos material because my friend Jessica, like the prettiest girl you've ever seen in your life, half Polynesian and like, you know, just beautiful, like just beautiful. Even when we were that young, she was beautiful and really, really sweet. And she just went through this phase of she was getting braces and they had to put one of those spacers on the top of the roof of her mouth that, you turn the key and it kind of like opens your cracks your jaw actually and widens your mouth. So she had she had that going for her, this big gap between her teeth, which was actually super cute. But then she had to get this like retainer thing. And then she had just had something happen where the TV, this like smaller TV, fell off of the dresser and landed on her head. So she had this giant knot goose egg on her head. And the turtle was doing this thing where it was like sticking its neck out and its mouth was open wide. And we thought the neck was extended as far as it would go, but she was doing this thing where she was pretending to kiss it and it extended just that extra inch and latched onto her lip like this. It was hanging from her lip, and my other friend Jenny was like pulling it by the leg, so this turtle is being pulled from between my friend's lip. Oh my god. And it finally let go, and then her lip swelled up this big, and it was just such a sight. It was incredible. Weren't we all kleptos as young adults? When I moved to Arizona, this is terrible, but when I moved to Arizona, I was like making friends and we went to the mall together. And so these were my new friends. And I had no idea how to make friends because I had never had to make friends before. I grew up in the same place my whole life. I had friends from kindergarten and it was just, that I never really had to think about making friends. And then I moved for the very first time when I was 13, 14 years old. And then it was like, I had no idea how to do it. And so anyway, these girls were really nice to me and they invited me to go to the mall with them. So I went to the mall with them and I was trying to impress them. And we went to this bikini store and they were all like trying on bikinis and stuff like that. And then, they all picked them out, but they weren't going to buy them. And so I went into the dressing room and I put literally every single one of those bikinis on and then put my clothes on and I walked out with all those bikinis on and I stole all the bikinis. But I wasn't like a kleptomaniac. I didn't steal all the time. I probably stole more than that. I think probably in my life, but I'll just never forget that because I was like, did I just do that? So, and I was a big hero because I got all the girls bikinis for the summer, but oh God, we're such idiots when we're kids. I know. I don't know. My mom would be very proud of me right now. She doesn't know that story. Oh, Keystone, I had typed this earlier and I just realized it never sent. So, lo siento mucho. Now we're all on rumor Biden deathbed at this moment. Yeah, what was I looking at just before I went live? I was seeing that oh, I don't even remember. What was it? They were transferring all of his responsibilities to like the Secretary of State or something. And I didn't get a chance to look and see what the source actually was or if it was real. Okay, whitehouse.gov memorandum on the delegation of certain functions and authorities under the Rebuilding Economic Prosperity and Opportunity for Ukrainians Act from today. By the authority vested in me as president. Hold on one second. Okay. By the Constitution and laws, section, I hereby delegate to the Secretary of Treasury the functions and authorities vested in the president by sections of rebuilding the economic prosperity, and the delegations in this memorandum shall apply to any provisions of the future public laws that are in the same substantiality, the same as those provisions referenced in this memorandum. The Secretary of the Treasury is authorized and directed to publish this memorandum in the Federal Register. Yeah, guys, where's our president? Is he dead? It's very strange, right? These are the times that I mean, let's face it, all these every time, like every day. I don't think we've had really like a week of normalcy in many years. And I don't know what to say. I don't know what it's going to take to be the tipping point because I feel like we reached that a long time ago. But oh gosh, that's awful. The dead dog fell out on his side on the fence. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. You know, if you're going to bury a living thing, you probably shouldn't put it in a bag anyway because let it decompose, I guess. Yeah, I heard the call at the Harris event, which is like, that's no proof of life to me. I mean, we know what they can do. We know what they can do with AI. And so, I mean, I'm not saying that was, but it also is definitely not proof of anything. So, how are we to know that we have a president right now? That's a little alarming. It would be more alarming if we had a president that was functional to begin with. But our number 2, which is very fitting of a title, is not so great either. So, I don't know. It's just so weird. Supposedly he's going back to the White House tomorrow. We'll see. I mean, it sucks that we live in a world where I don't even care if they show footage of him walking back. I don't know at this point. I know that sounds crazy, but like crazier things have happened, right? So how do we know old footage isn't used? I mean, shoot, they can make whatever seem like whatever they want. We all know that. So, and they have been able to do that for a very long time. It's just we're just now catching up with some of the technology that they've probably had and had higher levels of for many, many years. So, I don't know. Yeah, Twitter, X, Biden Harris headquarters changed to Harris headquarters. Naturally, Nikki says, would love for our end of this movement to get some damn investigative journalists, easy for me to say, that can travel around and find this shit out for us. Yeah, I know. Why don't we have that? Why don't we have that already? I'll tell you why. Because it's not easy. It's very expensive, and it's also a little sketchy, or a lot sketchy. You know, you're putting yourself in, unfortunately, probably a certain amount of danger if you're, when you're exposing truth like that. And like, I don't know. I I have a different perception now of media in general. And I know I've said this for a long time, and I know it made no sense because I was in media, you know. Um, but really, what I believe in is just a collection of people, being honest about the fact that they are not sources of information. They're just giving their opinions on things, and explaining the way that they see the world. But as soon as you have sources of information, and as soon as that source of information gains enough clout that they now have power and influence, then there's always the risk of it being corrupted. And I happen to think that it kind of always does. So I don't know what I want to see going forward, other than I would like to see it be very different, because I don't, it's like, okay, well, certainly now it'll be okay. It wasn't okay over here, and we see where it went wrong, but certainly these people will never get corrupted. It's got to be different completely. And I think that's kind of what social media is for. We can now know what's going on in the world at any moment. When it happens, from the people who are there, for the most part. I mean, there are differences, right? We need a press pool in the White House, and we need people to be, not any person can walk in off the street and go see what, and that's wrong. Those are the places that we should have the most access to what's going on, are, House of Representatives and things like that. We should always know what's going on, right? That's whatever. But anyway, so I don't really know what the answer is. Uh, First and foremost, I would say, if it were up to me, I would really want to fight for freedom of speech on every public platform, that they are considered the public square rather than, private publishers. That if these are the places that, I mean, think about it. The president pulled out of running yesterday, and he announced it on X. That's an incredible amount of power that X has. And you have people still to this day that are banned from X. So those people are like literally not allowed to get the information directly from their president, where he puts it out, which is crazy. So first and foremost, you need to have the social media needs to be, we really need to hold their feet to the fire and get these platforms freed up, and literally make it, well, I mean, hold them accountable for censorship. Hey, Pig Iron Patriot, thank you so much. And then what? I don't know. I think I mean, we all get our news pretty much from social media anyway, don't we? So I don't think anybody's watching TV for it anymore. Newspapers, not so much, especially since that's like, it's old news by the time you get a newspaper. Um, Although I like newspapers. I get a particular newspaper, and I like to like sit down with my newspaper and smell it. But as far as like knowing what's going on right now in the world, I'm getting it from social media. I think most people are. So as long as that is open and free, then we'd also have to do something about the fact, like the astroturfing and the people that are propped up by um clickbait content or irresponsible content, or um And I don't really know what you do about that other than people just have to get a whole lot smarter. I saw what did I see today? It drives me nuts, and I used to take my time to, like, fact check. I used to, like, bring up the images. I would be like and I would always when I saw these irresponsible posts with, like, 5,000 likes on them, I would be like, actually," and I would always put the stuff under it. Now I'm just like, "Whatever, I let it go." But it was a, picture of Joe Biden walking on the beach, and he's shirtless, and then there's a picture next to it, and they don't say any commentary. If they say commentary, it's always something dumb like, um, "Are you seeing what I'm seeing?" You know, something super vague, and so the other picture was this picture of Biden shirtless washing a car with tattoos, and, you know, after first of all, I could take one look at that picture and tell you that it was photoshopped just because I could. It's not a very good Photoshop job. But also, you start coming across the same things and you remember certain whatever's articles. It was a parody article that came out years ago, and I think it was The Onion, actually. The Onion did this story about Biden, and they photoshopped him on some dude with like tattoos on his arms washing his car. And so they're fake pictures, but people are using them to be like, see, they swapped Biden out, and this is now a clone because he's missing the tattoos that he had. He never freaking had tattoos. You're looking at a Photoshop, but here you have 900 likes and, like, I don't know, 700 reposts on this stupid thing, and the account has, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of followers on it, and you're just like, really? Is this where we are? Is this where we are? In the 2024th year of our Lord, that people are still so quick to believe dumb shit. Am I weird? I don't even know what I said, but your friend had his Facebook nuke today. I mean, really? Is that still happening? Facebook still even exists? I just don't even believe it. Yes, it was very vomit inducing. Oh, okay. So I smell newspapers. What? You don't smell your newspapers? Oh, I'm so sorry. Hey, Matt, thank you for the can. Good to see you again, too. Thank you so much. And Allison, thank you for the can, too. I got cans. Moving on. Yeah, what is this Facebook that you speak of? Uh, so I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, what do you guys think is the solution to fake news? Because it really is probably one of the biggest problems that we have. If we did not have fake news, I mean, again, though, it's disheartening to see, and who even knows if that stuff on Twitter is real? It could be just a bunch of bots um, uh, promoting that tweet. But if people are really still that sheepish, that's not the word I'm looking for. Stupid is what I need. Um, then do we have any hope? Because even if, I mean, it doesn't, like, at this point, they don't even need to lie to us. We lie to ourselves. Yeah, who doesn't sniff their books and newspapers? If you like, you are missing out. And old books, the older the book, the better the sniff. Oh no. That's already starting, Mindy, the I'm with her Facebook profile pictures. I love it. Becky Lou, my friend with the best puns. Get to know her and bow down to the queen of puns. She's the best. Yeah, Biden is not sniffing books. Well, hi, friend. Citizen journalists are the answer. Everyone reports what they see, hear, experience in real time. Yeah, absolutely. I think that, commentary is great. Big fan of commentary, big fan of people that give their opinions when they say these are my opinions. Um, and as far as okay, but here's the thing. This is what I'm thinking of. Okay. You've got, say, some kind of event going. Okay. For example, today, big deal was made over the flags being at half staff at the White House today. Excuse me. I'm drinking soda, so I'm going to be a little burpy. I never drink soda, but every once in a while. So, and no, that's not a really good example because it's, that's I understand why people are like, "Oh, that's interesting." I don't know. I can't think of a good example right now, but there are a lot of times that people are in such a rush to be the first one to report something that they get something out and they create all this hype around something that isn't true or is like, they got it wrong. And then it spreads like wildfire. And then what do you do? Because the retraction never gets as much traction as the initial post. So that's one big problem that we have. And who knows who's behind these accounts, right? A lot of these accounts, shit, even accounts that I have followed for years, I don't know who really runs them. You know, I have had a really big influx on X recently of a lot of really pretty girls who are like posting MAGA stuff and pro Trump stuff or whatever, and I'm like, um, I fall for it, and I start following them, and then I start thinking to myself, I don't really know who that is. This could be a Fed trap. Or it could just be a nice, lovely girl who happens to be very attractive and is telling the truth out there. I have no idea. But I don't know even the people that do put their faces out there. Are they getting paid by somebody? Are they getting well, now that X you can now that you can monetize on X, there is that incentive of, okay, now okay, so I'm Kate and I go out there and I start tweeting and I'm just having fun and shit posting. And for some reason, actually, this is kind of what happened to me. I had one tweet. Well, I had several tweets that for whatever reason, like I just got a bunch of followers um, right after I tweeted it, because I don't know, like maybe somebody big got a hold of it and retweeted it, and then it got big. And I'm laughing to myself right now because one of them was the Gwyneth Paltrow candle one, but which had nothing to do with what I usually tweeted out. So a lot of those people that followed me thinking that they were going to get, uh, dirty jokes were like seeing all my Trump and Q memes, like I've made a big mistake. But anyway, so you've got a person like me, for example, who is just posting for fun, and then all of a sudden they get some good followage on their account. Okay, now I'm getting attention every day for what I'm posting, and everything I'm posting is kind of getting a lot of traction on it. I'm not saying this in real life. I'm giving myself as an example. I don't get any traction. Nobody cares about anything that I post. It sits there and you'll see like a little tumbleweed go across your screen. But if I was one of those people that was getting a ton of traction on all of my accounts, I think I would feel pressure, because I know I felt pressure even with the following that I had. I felt pressure to get up in the morning and make a post or to have an opinion on something or whatever it was. It kind of becomes an obsession. But then also, if you're making money from it, I never was, but if you're making money for it, now you're like, okay, well, I can make some money at this. Now there's a lot more pressure to put content out. Well, what if you're having a day where you don't have anything clever to say, or what if you don't know what's going on, or whatever. I think that's how people get sucked into stealing content, which happens all the time. Even stealing other people's jokes. I mean, how lame is that? It's one thing to steal a news story and be like, pretend that they didn't see it over there. Like, oh, I'm just going to pretend I got it from a different source over here and just like quickly post it. But the people that literally steal other people's jokes absolutely baffle me, because how does that feel good when you're like getting all the likes? I would feel like such a fraud. But anyway, um, yeah, so there becomes that pressure to uh naturally, Nikki, Kate, I don't want to give you a complex, but did you know you run your hands down your hair and then palms together a lot and then you get stuck in thought? Just saying, love you. I didn't know that I do that. I mean, I know I paw my hair. That's just what I do. I thought the pigtails might help with that tonight, but apparently not. And this is just, yeah, this is my like return to zero. All those year in karate. Kat says, or the hot ex chicks only post boob selfies and no real content, but they have hashtag MAGA in their bio. Yeah. Yeah. Lots of selfies. That's newer. That was not part of this in the beginning. That didn't happen till later. There really weren't, yeah, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but anyone in the beginning of like the whole MAGA and Q stuff, and I don't remember there being like hot chicks posting selfies. But I could be wrong. Maybe I just was following the wrong people. But I feel like I would find everybody that was posting about Q or Trump and follow them. Mark Jason Walker 0017. Oh my goodness, you hit the nail on the head. I cannot tell you how many content producers steal material. It's very eye-opening. And so I used to watch it firsthand a lot because I was in a group with friends that it would happen to them all the time. I have some friends who are constantly putting out content every day. They work really, really hard. They barely get any recognition. They do not get the recognition that they deserve. They're not making money. They're seriously just here to help. And they're finding all these great stories, but then they're also giving commentary because they're smart people, right? Which I think is worth more than just being, that adds to it, right? And we would watch these other people just brazenly jack their stuff, and it was baffling. It was baffling to watch. And then people would get called out on it, and then they would be like kind of a so what attitude, and then other people would come to the content thieves defense saying stupid shit like message over messenger, and it doesn't matter, you shouldn't care so much about credit as long as the message is getting out. Well, first of all, it takes less time to retweet someone than it does to steal, copy, paste, and steal their whatever. But okay, like I said, these people aren't just posting a news story. A lot of times they're giving their own commentary. Let's say I'm perusing Twitter and I really like somebody's take. For example, that's how I found and started following Brian Cates. I saw a few of his tweets long time ago in the days of yore, and I'm like, I like the way this guy thinks, so I'm going to follow Brian Cates. Then I get to see Brian Cates's thoughts on everything now because I'm following him, and that's the way that it should work. If you're stealing somebody else's thoughts, then I see the thoughts, I'm like, I like the thoughts, I'm going to follow that, and then I never see anything like that from you again. You're actually cutting off that line between people who want to get to that particular voice. And there are so many different voices and everyone's unique. And there are going to be people that reach people that others can't. And so to steal their thoughts is, I think, egregious, because it's important for people to find who they align with. And if something resonates with somebody, then they should be able to find out where it came from so that they can find more of that stuff. Becky Lou Who says, I don't like taking pictures of myself. That's why having my front-facing camera taped off is never inconvenient. I don't need the 3-letter guys knowing what my face looks like while I poop. I'm not I'm not a selfie girl either, and I remember when it was embarrassing to do that. It was that's how old I am. I remember when it was embarrassing to turn your camera on yourself and to have anybody see you do that. I think it was, like, taboo in, Thelma and Louise when that moment that they turn the Polaroid on themselves as they're getting ready to leave, and they take that picture of themselves. You were supposed to be laughing at them. It was supposed to be that goofy, not like something that now, grown women do on a regular basis. Me with my breakfast burrito. So, and I definitely went through the whole Instagram thing. I did it again, didn't I? I'm just, this is the flow of my energy, you guys. So just bear with me. This is how it flows. But when I went through my awakening, I could no longer, it was like I couldn't do that stuff anymore, really. I had a hard time with that. And, I'm not against it. It's just that now I'm too old. I don't want to look at myself. I'm sure it's very fun when you're attractive and you're like, okay, I like what I see. I would sit there all day probably. But yeah, I don't know. I was just about to say something else and I completely forgot what I was going to say. Omnifus Productions. I hope I said that right. Even with Musk taking over X/Twitter, I'm still not on the website. Yeah, that's not okay. It's not okay. And I like Musk somewhat. I feel like he could be playing a role, and maybe there's a reason that the timing is what it is, that not everybody can be back yet. But how freaking frustrating is that? That's like, I'm not going to be okay with it unless I know for a fact that there's a reason that needs to happen, which we're probably obviously never going to get. So we have to talk about how it's not okay. We have to talk about how it's messed up. And there are accounts that, by the way, are very much profiting off of the algorithm the way that it is. They get the attention of Elon, and they're making a lot of money, and they're being retweeted by the right people and whatever. So they'll sit on Twitter, X, and say how praise Elon for what he's done to bring free speech back to the platform. Meanwhile, everybody else is kind of sitting there like, huh? There was that Percival guy that did all of he does the back end kind of coding stuff for X, and he is able to explain to people what is they're seeing, and he put something out so that people could check how shadow banned they were and see what shadow bans are on their accounts, and everybody was like, every single person was shadow banned to some degree. So that's not okay. Oh, I did get your pronunciation right. That's awesome. Your jowls. I hate when it accidentally turns on and I'm like, what is this thumb I took a picture of? Oh, that's my face. Mark says, I remember you from YouTube. I don't do YouTube really anymore, and I think they kicked you off. Nice to find you again on Pilled. Well, thanks. Yeah. Nice to see you too. I mean, I'm kind of recently back, I guess, and I am actually streaming right now to YouTube, although it is a different channel. We'll see how long that one lasts. And I kind of forget that it's there, but I'm like, why? It's just a button that I push. I created an account, I push a button, and in fact, let me see something. I never really check to see. Let me see something. And sorry if I get double audio. Oh yeah, view my channel. It's like different now too. So I can't even get it to open. Whatever. And I'm just gonna. And I thought that came through on this. The chat did, but I guess it doesn't. Oh, thanks, Keystone. Keystone says, you have to literally look for someone's account now in order to see their posts, even when following them. So that is a form of shadow banning too, 100%. I don't see anybody that I follow for the most part. I see the same 6 accounts, and I actually had to mute a bunch of people because I was only seeing their content. So I'm like, I don't follow this person for a reason. I'm not interested in what they have to post, and then they're like the only thing showing up on my timeline. It's so annoying. Nikki says, Facebook temporarily banned and shadow banned me so hard. My family asked if I was still on Facebook. Said, yep, but soon as I got unbanned, I'm back in jail, less than an hour. Never a full ban though. Well, that's commitment. Instagram booted me the same day Twitter did during the second major purge, which is why it's weird Facebook never got me. Oh, that is weird. And I was a nobody, so I was shocked when Twitter booted me with all the others. Yeah. I got my Twitter and my Instagram both booted on the same day that was actually my birthday, and, um, so that was fun, and I still have my old account, but I don't post on there anymore, but I'll go and every once in a while, I will see what my old friends are up to, check on their babies and whatever, but it is a massive time suck. It is like the one time that I spent time on TikTok, uh, somebody told me about some AI thing that they had on TikTok once upon a time, and I went to check it out, and it was terrifying. But I was sat there on TikTok for a minute, and it was literally I hit a wormhole, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I put my phone down. I don't even know how long passed. It was like 40 minutes, and I was like, "What just happened?" Never touching that evil app again. And so many people talk about how it's such a great red pilling tool and yada yada yada, and maybe it is, but I'm not doing it. Can I do a show on astrology someday? Well, I could, but I'd have to get somebody on that knows what they're talking about because I don't. I don't even really know what I know what I am. I had my friend do my chart, and it was very interesting. And I know that I'm a Capricorn, and I am pretty Capricorny. I'm pretty Capricorny, but I don't really know what that means. I only know what I had an astrology book when I was in 8th grade that I read. But it's very interesting. Keystone, Leyland, what were you guys talking about earlier today? The Mayan astrology? Maybe you guys should come on my show and talk about that. Social media is social control, absolutely. Yeah, it's weird how those things are pretty spot on. Yeah, Mayan astrology. Oh, yes, please. Oh, yeah. Red pill pharmacist loves her some astrology. She says, "Oh, yes, please. I'd love to hear someone talk on personalities of the zodiac." She knows all that stuff too. She's really good with that. Um, and I'm the worst. She's always like telling me that I need to go like look into my whatever, and I'm just so bad with that. I'm like, I know what I am. I guess it's interesting to hear somebody else confirm it for me and be like, "Oh, yes, you struggle with these things." Like, I'm quite aware that I struggle with these things. And the things that it says that I excel in, I'm not so sure about that. For the most part, it has my personality down pretty well. I mean, I am fascinated by that stuff. I was fascinated, kind of related, when I went to an acupuncturist, this lady that practiced Chinese medicine, and she told me all kinds of things about my body. Um, and, how I felt when I ate certain things. And I'm like, yes, that's spot on. She's like, oh, I can see that because of all of these things. So, and my, um, my ex mother in law, I hate calling her that because she's not my mother-in-law anymore. Calling her my ex-mother-in-law sounds so unpersonal, but technically she's not my mother-in-law anymore. Anyway, so my mother-in-law of olden days went to an iridologist, and I think that's what they call. Is that what they call the person that studies the iris of the eye? And they were able to tell her that she had one ovary and that she had had this many pregnancies and all this stuff just by looking at the iris of her eye. She said it was crazy. I do know my full natal chart. So haven't I ever told you that before? Have I ever read that to you? I think I have it in here somewhere. You can tell me if this is. Oh, I just have the notes that I took when my friend told me. So I'm a Cancer ascendant, Sagittarius sun, Leo moon, Venus in Capricorn, Jupiter, Rahu moon, Mars all in Leo. Mercury is in Sagittarius. I'm mostly fire. I communicate like a Sagittarius. Venus is how I love, which is Capricorn. And I'm a rule follower. That is very true, other than those bikinis. I don't know. Does that make sense to you, knowing me? Well, yeah, I don't know. That stuff is very confusing to me. Sun sign is your foundation from Team Smooth. Structure, moon sign is internal, like inside and house, and rising sun is external, how you appear publicly. My rising sun must be in Uranus. God, I'm funny. So I think, Kat, what a natal chart is they have to probe your belly button. No, it's when the time and place and everything that you were born, right? That's what I had to give my friend, or was she just trying to steal my identity? I'm a water sign ascendant. Do you mean me? Liberty is mine. It's funny when people say things like, "I knew you had a water sign ascendant." I'm like, I am so oblivious to all. I'm also somewhat, I think, oblivious to myself and like what I am, because when people describe me to me, it's always news to me. I'm like, really? That's surprising. Okay, I don't know. Mine My Own says, my mom went to a palm reader that told her she'd have 2 kids, not her own, were adopted, and be married 5 times, all came to be. There was more, but you get it. Yeah, that's incredible. My mom used to go to this woman every year with her friend just for fun. That her name was Grace Covini, and she was a medium, and my mom would get her palm read or whatever. And my mom went to her when she was newly pregnant with me, not showing or anything, and the woman said to her instantly that, "Oh, you're pregnant." And I think she told her that it was gonna be a girl, and she also told her that she's gonna, do that she's gonna have trouble in labor, and that she's gonna have severe back pain, and she's gonna tell the doctor about it, and the doctor is gonna tell her that's normal, and she said, "No, you need to insist that he checks it out." Well, all that stuff happened. It was me, by the way, that she was pregnant with. I think I already said that. And my head was caught on my mom's spinal cord, and so, he did say, "No, it's normal, the back pain's normal." She's like, "No, you need to check it out," and I think they did an X-ray or something, and then found out that, had I not been a C-section, I would have been born dead. So, when I was 14 years old. Oh, also, this woman was in, like, newspapers and stuff because she had a living Christmas tree in her house, a cut Christmas tree in her house for, like, 8 years or something like that, and it lived the entire time. She just got sick of looking at it, so she threw it away. But, anyway, so when I was 14 years old, went to go see her for fun, and I don't remember all she told me. Well, she predicted several things. She predicted, well, she knew my mom and dad were gonna both have heart trouble. She predicted, that my hips would be bad, and, probably 15 years later, I started having problems with my hips, and she told me that, I was gonna do something in radio, which is interesting because I kinda do, it's not like she could have said, "You're gonna do YouTube when you grow up," or "You're gonna do podcasts," because those things didn't exist, in 1875 when I had this reading, so I thought that was interesting. Asia Weekly says, "Glad I found you again. I spent last week catching up on your shows. Love your stories." Thank you. Thank you so much. What are my stories? You probably weren't here for the beginning of the show because I don't think you'd be saying that. But thank you so much. That's very sweet. Oh, really? Like which info? Like telling people what my rising sign is and stuff, Leyland? I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I don't know. One rule of thumb is anyone born 6 months apart from you, you will absolutely get along with, Mark says, allegedly. That's interesting. I have never heard that before. Trying to think of anybody I know that was born exactly 6 months from me. Oh, well, you didn't say exactly, but oh, interesting. I'm petting my hair because I'm interested. That's interesting. Now that I think of that. Hmm. Oh, gotcha. You mentioned your birthday and birthplace. Gotcha, gotcha. I'm like, now that people know that my rising sign is da da da, are they gonna steal my identity? Nikki says, only time I ever saw someone gifted, it was an energy healer. She told me I was an empath like at like 17, 18. When I learned more on what empaths go through, it made so much sense. Never did learn to control though. Yes. That's interesting. I think I think probably most of us in here are empaths. I think that has a big part of waking up probably earlier than our fellow man. And I feel like it makes sense to me as well. But I'm a different kind of empath. I feel everything, but you'd never know it. Um, I think I probably come across as a little bit cold. And but I was like the kid, I don't think anyone that knew me as a kid would think like, "Oh, she's so sweet. She cares about people." But because I would never show it, but I would always just like take it all in. And then at night, I would go off and I would cry by myself. And I would think about, the homeless guy that I saw, or I would think about, gosh, I have the weirdest memories. I have this like one memory burned into my brain of one of my best friends. It was a girl. She wasn't yet my best friend. This was in third grade. And I don't even want to say what it was, but there was something that happened at school and um it was a brief second, just this brief moment of something that I saw and it destroyed me. I felt just terrible for her. And it wasn't even necessarily something that would bother her. Actually, knowing her later when we did become friends, it was something that she was insecure about, but I cried and cried and cried for like a week and then she ended up becoming my best friend. And it's weird the things that we remember. I always get lost in thought, Nikki. I share a birthday with Nicolas Cage. No, is that me? Yeah, that is me. I share a birthday with Nicolas Cage. I think that's the only person notable that I know of. You cried when Bing Bong died in Inside Out. Omnibus Productions. I also have a history of being somewhat of something of an empath. I don't want others to go through strife or sorrow. That always gets me when I'm going through when I'm going through something myself is that the thought makes it so much worse that it's not just me. And, people will try to pull you out of it by being like, listen, it could be so much worse. So many people have it so much worse. And it'll just make me cry harder because I'm like, I know this is awful. This planet is awful. And it is. It really, really is. You guys, this planet is just awful. It is it it's not the planet, actually. It's not the planet. The planet is beautiful. It's the people. And that uh, it's not that we have, a bunch of innocent people and then just demons and we're all just being victimized by the demons. Really good people do some very bad stuff sometimes. And I have watched good people become evil. And what do you do with that? Because then you don't want to trust anyone ever again. And um I don't know. I mean, the only thing that gives me solace, I guess, is that we're here to just we have to just get over the expectation that things are we're ever going to get a happy ending and just realize that everything we're going through is for growth. But there's something so cold about feeling like I don't know, like I don't know. Let's talk about something else. January 7th, also Millard Fillmore, the 13th president. Well, how could I have forgotten about Millard? I have his picture on my boudoir. That means bedroom. On my, what's it called? I don't know. No antidepressants, but I do go back and forth with my drinking. Sometimes it's hard for me at home when my girls go back to their moms to have them a week on, a week off. Yeah, that's got to be super hard. And we all cope. I was on antidepressants for years. Um, it's no wonder that there are so many different coping mechanisms that we all fall into because it is a very raw world and it's very lonely. I am very, very lucky to know so many amazing people, like so many amazing people. And I am freaking lonely, So I know if I'm lonely, I can only imagine how people feel. Oh, yes, Keystone, thank you. So I think I mentioned this last time, that Keystone and Leyland and I have this thing that it's not a podcast, really. Um, I guess it technically is. Sean Joe, thank you for the cookie. We were having these conversations, these phone calls, and we would talk on the phone for like 3 hours, and they were just amazing. And they were uplifting, and we talk about weird stuff, and they were just cool. They're just cool. It's fun, real, raw conversation, just human beings being human. And we would always joke saying like, man, if people could just listen into these phone calls. Anyway, so now we're putting these phone calls up and we're not really calling it a podcast. I don't know what it is. It's just the call. And they're up on Substack, and Keystone just put the link in the chat. Keystone, would you put that link in the pilled chat also, please? So I don't know, check it out. It's not a podcast, so I don't want you to go in with the expectations of that. It literally is you're just gonna be eavesdropping on our phone calls. And obviously, we're not putting out anything that's like, whatever, detrimental that we wouldn't but, we do get lost in these calls, which is the point. It's the point is that I don't think we need a ton more content in the world. I think we need human connection. And even just listening in, I mean, shoot, even just watching movies where you're watching even actors pretending to have human connection can do something for your soul. So, actually listening in to three friends that love each other and build each other up and support each other and laugh together and talk about weird things and talk about being scared and talk about the hard things that they're going through and connecting on that level, it just felt important to share that. As weird as it might be, and you might sit there and be like, what the hell am I listening to? And that's kind of the point. I thought I pictured it just being kind of white noise that you put it on while you're cleaning your kitchen or you're driving or you're doing whatever, you're working in outside in your garden and just listening to people talk to each other, I think is more fascinating. I mean, personally, to me, I think is more fascinating than listening to even a book on tape or not that there aren't profound things to be learned obviously from books on tape, and there's a place for those, and I love books every way, but just something about getting back to these dialogues and listening to dialogues and connecting with people on a human level is what seemed like we needed more of. And anytime you do a show, even if you say, I mean, even like I get up here and I do these and I'm like, okay, well, this is just our hangout. This isn't a show. It's just me live. It is just me live and we read the chats and we all hang out together. And this is what it's been for years. There's still this element, there's that pressure kind of to like, I don't know, I can't sit here in silence and pick my nose for 10 minutes. Um, I'm very consciously aware that I'm on a camera and that people are watching me. And so you lose a little bit of that element of humanity. I mean, even if also I'm sitting here by myself, whereas when I'm talking to my friends, we're being real with each other and we're bouncing ideas off of each other. And, several months, a few of them might end in me crying and them having to just console me. And, but it's not always going to be like that. Freaking hope. So, but that's the reality of it. And there were times that we sat there afterwards and they were like, are you okay putting this out? We don't have to put this out. And I was just like, no, it's fine. It's good. And I know it's embarrassing for me. I should be embarrassed, but it's also just life and that is real. So, Kat says being in the truth movement with only normie friends in real life is super lonely. Finding friends and community who get it is so refreshing. I hope everyone can find a community of truth seekers. Yes, me too. Girl, this is it too. And yeah, I went through that too. I didn't even have any friends that were, Trump supporters or anything that aligned with me in any way, shape, or form. I mean, and I didn't really hide it. I didn't hide it well. But I hid certain things that I believed in and couldn't talk about stuff. It's very lonely. And even, even when we do find each other and we can have people to lean on, we're all going through it alone. And that's what breaks my heart the most is that um it's a really, really hard time and everybody feels a little bit alone. Even if you're in a relationship, married and you got a house full of kids and all of that wonderful stuff, and your life is very full, you can still feel lonely. And I don't think people really talk about that much because it's like, you almost feel guilty to say, look how wonderful my life is. And yet I still have this feeling of loneliness because maybe you don't have somebody to talk to about if there are even certain things that you can't talk to anybody about, then that's loneliness. Even if you are spending 90% of the rest of your day talking on the phone to girlfriends or guy friends or your spouse or your mom or whatever, um, if there are parts of yourself that you feel you can't share, that's loneliness. And I know very, very, very popular people that are very, very lonely. Um, and I think it has just most to do with, like I said, there being parts of yourself that you can't share or talk about, or beliefs that you have that you can't talk about. And also just how incredibly hard it is right now, hard in our world. And, um, you know, once upon a time, I would be like the cootie bug with, like everyone would look at me and be like, oh my God, what is wrong with her? Her light, like all that stuff that's crazy. But it's everybody. Everybody's going through what I'm going through on some level. And so that's really, really hard because we're trying to lean on each other, but we're barely standing up ourselves in a lot of ways. You're lucky to have that community. Well, yeah, and there's that. We don't leave our houses, but there are ways to connect with people. Um, most of my friends are online, you know, or a phone call away, not somebody I can just go drive to. I have friends in my neighborhood that I'm incredibly grateful for. They're wonderful people and they're fun, and that's what I need sometimes. And I have a best friend that lives, I don't know, 15 minutes away from me. My mom lives 15 minutes away from me. So I'm really lucky in that sense. But I don't know. I really think it's not even about, and then I have amazing friends online that I can tell anything to. I mean, shit, listen to the call. You'll be able to you'll see it for yourself. Um, but I think in a way it's like keeping secrets is very isolating. And it's not that, I'm not saying like keeping a dark secret about yourself. I'm saying anytime there's something about what it is you're going through that you can't talk about, um, it kind of puts you in a box. Oh, NDA Woods says, "Oh my God, I'm in my home after making dinner with an 18-year-old and a 17-year-old sons, and my husband day off, and I am lonely. They are all home, and I'm lonely, and I'm alone, lonely. I feel you, even though I can't read. I feel that with every fiber of my being. I completely understand that. Um, my son has been gone all week visiting his grandparents with his dad, and he's having a great time, and I'm super happy for him. It's really hard to be here alone. I haven't been entirely alone, but I am, you know, I'm alone. I am utterly alone. So, but even when he's here sometimes, he's 9 years old. I can't talk to him about stuff. It's not like I don't know. That might have something to do with, people that go from one person to the next person to the next person in relationships. I think men tend to do that. Well, I don't want to generalize. I'm sure women do that a lot too. But like men that just can't be alone. Men probably, men have less typically friends that they can really open up to. So they kind of need that, you know, support from a woman. And that's why typically they'll kind of have something in the wings before they'll let something else go because they can't be alone in the big bad world. I fucking can. I'll cry. I'll cry and I'll snot all over the place, but I can do it. That's good that you can brain dump on him, Nikki. I have Archie. Archie is worthless. Archie is worthless. Did you hear your voice or your name? Come here, Stoops. He's so crusty right now. Armando says, but I have a lot of guy friends. But yes, having a woman to talk to about the emotional side of stuff is not there with my guys. Yeah, it's just different. I know that, you know, that's typically, I think that's why more men, well, I actually don't know if this is true anymore, but I had read at one point at least that more men were in therapy than women. And I'm like, that just makes sense because women have free therapy with their friends and they could talk about their feelings for hours. And guys don't always have that. He's a ball of light. He's a ball of light that was dropped in a mound of fur and crust. Archie is a pet. He is a dog. My voice or whose voice? And a stolen plant. I am down a plant. It'll be interesting to see if River notices when he gets back. Yeah, I don't know. But I was always uh, like, I'm independent in some ways. I'm independent in some ways, and so I actually, I married a guy that traveled for like 70% of the time, and I was quite happy with that. It worked for me, it worked for us. And I was never like I didn't really feel lonely then. I'm just trying to remember. I never felt lonely. There were times that I was like, you know, something died in the pool and I have to be the one to fish it out. And those are the times I was like, God, where are you? But I don't think I was ever lonely during that time. I don't think like real loneliness kicked in with me until I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there's one growing Keystone in the plate. It's just a little guy now, but they grow pretty fast, so I'm not worried about it. Hey, PJ. That is true. Um, PJ says standing alone is better than standing with people that don't value you. I think the hard part is that um, I know that's right. I know you're totally right in saying that. I think the hard part is that it's hard not to internalize it when people don't value you, especially when you value them or you care about them, and then you're, so I wish it was that easy for me to be like, okay, well, um, if you don't like me, then you're not worth my time. I know some people can be really good at that. No, Maria, I love, I don't, oh, are you talking about me personally? I like to hear it. I don't get offended. So please don't feel like if you see something um about me, I like to hear it. Ask Keystone and Leyland. That's like, a big part of what the call is them being like, did you ever notice that you do this or whatever? It's really good. I think that it's important to be able to examine ourselves and to take criticism or, I don't even know if what you were going to say was going to be critical or not. I think I just surmised that because you said, don't take this wrong. But we were actually having a conversation today about Trump because I'm reading this book. Really good, you guys. I really do think that we're going to do this for book club in a couple after Celestine Prophecy. It's just it just sounds like advice from dad. It's just like it warms my heart like that. It's cool. But anyway, so we were talking about Trump today and we were talking about I was saying how one of my favorite characteristics of his is that he is in on the joke of himself. He can laugh at himself. I love a person that can laugh at himself. So um I like to think that I really don't it's not very easy to offend me or hurt my feelings. So please don't ever worry about that. Not that I mean, like, I'm obviously soft in some ways. I'm emotional, um, but believe it or not, it takes big stuff. And I know you guys don't know what I'm going through, and so you think I'm just this blubbery, crybaby. Someday. There's not a civil war going on, and if you want to talk about civil wars, this is not really the place. We talk about our feelings here. Nobody's gonna like. By the way, if I sat here and tried to talk to you about the Civil War, you would not learn anything from me. Just like you're probably not going to learn anything from anybody else that's out there talking about it because nobody knows anything. Everyone just speculates. and it's frustrating. So this is kind of a safe space from that. Although you're not wrong, there is other stuff going on in the world. It's just that we've kind of come to terms with the fact that we're not doing much about that. Yeah, stolen agave plants, astrology, come on. Becky Luhu, did you ever notice that you identify as a hideous idiot? That's one thing you're wrong about. If we were leftists, we would have to address you as ugly or dummy, or we'd be bigots. That's right. No, I don't know. I don't think of myself as a hideous idiot, but I think, I don't know. It's just the human part of me, I guess, that is just very, very, I don't know. I'm an easy target. Guys are funny and they will tell you to get a jock strap or a bra if you need support. Kat says, this is, yes, the Civil War's battlefield is in our minds. Talking about our thoughts and feelings in this movement, like Kate is more important than ever. It's true. Very well put, my friend. It is the, whatever is going on out there, is not just going on out there. It has to do with us, and we have to be strong, and we have to be able to, we can't really know. We can't even really know what we see on the news, if that's actually happening or not. So, we can speculate about it, but the thing is that it's designed to freak you out. And I think that, when you come in here saying, what are you doing? There's a civil war going on. To me, that reeks of fear. And I feel bad because they got you, they got you with that. And they used to get me too. So I'm not making any judgment. But eventually I think you get to a place where you're just like, okay, I can't live moment to moment in fear based on what is, the news that's coming out, because so much is just so fake anyway. I like that, PJ. To share your weakness is to make yourself vulnerable. To make yourself vulnerable is to show your strength. I like that a lot. The Gang Gang song with Tom McDonald and Nova Rockefeller. I have not heard of that. Everlasting Trap of Fear, Keystone said. Yes, exactly. Oh my God, Becky Lou. Did you just bring up the band Skinny Puppy? I went to Skinny Puppy show when I was, I don't know, middle school or something like that. And then I ended up working at a restaurant with one of the guys in the band. We were waiters together. Isn't that funny? Good point. Why are you doing Y when there are so many Z people suffering? Sometimes we just need a place to rest. And that's always what this is going to be. We hang out with each other, we talk about whatever. And is there more important stuff to be focusing on? Yeah, sure, of course, yes. But we can't always be talking about those things. So this is once a week. I don't do this show nightly. I'm not 24-hour news of what Kate is, my every thought. Just once a week, we get together. It's our tradition. And I don't know. Yeah. If you cannot laugh at yourself, then you are sick. I feel bad for people that can't laugh at themselves. Armando smoked weed with when I smoked weed when I was 19 with the drummer from Hollywood Undead and didn't even know until he told me. Haha. That's pretty funny. I think you just showed your age, Armando. Thanks, Mindy. Yeah, we do need respite. So I don't know. I tried to do the news thing at one point. Not very good at it. But I know that it's needed. And yeah. We shall see. But I do have some other stuff. I did want to ask you guys that I'll probably make a post too asking. But if hypothetically I brought back the Clean Living Project or something like it, what topics would you guys want? And you guys can think about it. I'm going to put it on my Telegram channel and ask, because I want to know what you guys are interested in, and what maybe there are even things that you want me to cover again, because it's been a while. There are things like we were talking about methylene blue today, and all this stuff was coming back to me, but then at the same time, sorry, I have the hiccups. There's so much I can't remember. So stupid hiccups. So I'd be happy to do some refresher courses also. Damn it. But I do have some ideas. I mean, I had a whole list of things that I was planning on doing. So I still have that list, but times change. It's been a little while, and maybe there's some new stuff out there that I haven't even heard of yet that you guys want to know more about, or maybe like your friends are bringing up stuff to you and you're interested in, I don't know. Isn't that just the way that happens? My friend brought up methylene blue to me for months and I never looked into it, and then I finally did. So methylene blue, Keystone. Cooking show. I mean, I freaking love to cook, and cooking shows, would just be so fun. But like, how would I film that? That seems like a project, because you would need, I would need the wide angle to show like me talking, but then I would need like some kind. Do I need a helmet cam? And then I just wear the helmet cam, and so then you guys can see when I'm cooking what I'm looking at. I don't know. I could get like one of these guys, the little arm things that hold the thing over the cooking. I don't know. Would you guys really watch a cooking show? Because I would do a cooking show. I would freaking love to do a cooking show. What would you want to see me cook, though? The thing about me cooking is that I am not a recipe person. So, that's kind of probably why people would watch a cooking show, because they want to use the recipe. But I'm like a shake of this and a dollop of that and a do, and I don't really go by recipes, so I wouldn't like be able to tell you measurements. Chili. Hey, Roger. I know I've been talking about my chili for a long time now. Never given it to any of you. Now it's summertime, so it's not exactly chilly weather, but fall. My mother could do it. Hammy, let me tell you about my mother and taking pictures. There have been times my mother has sent me pictures. Like, she sent me a picture one time. She's like, "Do you want this?" I wish I could show you the picture. It was if you took a picture while running through your garage, that's what it was, just a blur. It was just, uh, what do they call those? The tracers that you get when you do acid, when you drop acid, it was just tracers. I was like, "Mom, what is this? What am I even looking at?" She has no idea how to take a picture. There's not a chance in hell, my mom, that could, record that for me. Chicken tenderloins cooked with spinach, mozzarella, and feta. Sounds good. Yeah, I could, like, um, give you guys the ingredient list before, like, this is go to the store and get these. Tonight we're cooking, I don't know, what are we cooking? Duck à l'orange. Tonight we're making, I've never made duck in my life. Tonight we're making, I don't know, what do I cook? I don't really cook a ton because it's just me and my son, and he doesn't let me be very creative. He's so rude. He does actually like to eat, um, stuff, more adventurous stuff than a normal kid. But and he always compliments me on my cooking, which is nice. And he also last year for school, he was buying lunches because it was just easier. And he was like, "Mom, I like your lunches so much more." So this next year, which makes my heart happy, but then it was so much work and it's so expensive. It's so expensive, but it's so much better for him. So I'm happy to do it. It's just like I have to get up a whole hour earlier to make the lunches. Well, that's excessive. I don't know. Oh, I don't know makeup lessons, but thanks. I I'm not good with makeup. I wish I was, but thank you. Omelets. Hey, Abe. Thank you for the can. Good to see you, friend. Thanks so much. He can taste mom's love in his lunch. He's also just he's also just he's excited about being healthy, and I've told him a lot about he knows what things are processed and whatever, so he can be a little bit of a he can be a little bit, you know, I'm glad that he knows, but it's hard raising a kid like that in a world where you don't want them to go out and make other kids feel bad about what they're eating. So, I don't know. Well, you guys, yes, thank you for putting that in there, Keystone. Go check out the call if you want. It's on the call.substack.com. Is that what it is? Yeah, you would know. I didn't realize that it was called that. I guess that's the URL. Anyway, if you want to check that out on Substack, I will have another article coming out this week. I don't know which one yet. I always have lots of irons in the fire. And so I guess we'll be surprised with that. Some other things coming. If you think of something that you want me to do on the Clean Living Project, okay. Let me know. If you're on Telegram, then put it in the Telegram chat, please. To my friend that bought me this book, thank you very much. I sent you a message yesterday, but I don't know if you got it or not. So I just wanted to mention that. I don't know if you're watching right now, but I love it. It's very uplifting. And I'm only a little way through, about a quarter of the way through. But it's a really good book. And what else? Oh, if you guys want to buy CBD, get it from Joel. CBD and more, cbdandmor.com/Kate. Coupon code Kate15. It is the best CBD in the world. You will not regret it. And what else? Anything? Oh, release the scratching. Thanks, Abe. Aw. Okay, let me open Pilled again and get the Duhigg. All right. That's done. So I'm forgetting something. Oh, YouTube. Goodbye, YouTube. Thank you. Come again.